We begin in the year 1619. A soldier of fortune and a man of reason, René Descartes finds himself locked away in a small stove-heated room in Germany, meditating on the nature of certainty. He resolves to doubt everything. What if everything he's ever believed about God, the senses, mathematics, even his own body, is false? I will suppose, therefore, that not God, who is supremely good, but some evil genius, not less powerful than deceitful, has employed his whole energies in deceiving me. Descartes, Meditations on First Philosophy. This radical move, to throw into question all that appears stable, marks the birth of modern philosophy. Descartes is not trying to destroy knowledge. He seeks to rebuild it, but only on a foundation so firm that no doubt can shake it. And that foundation will come, paradoxically, from within the doubt itself. From the abyss of uncertainty, a single truth emerges. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. This is not mere wordplay. It is the cornerstone of the modern self. Even if all else is an illusion, even if a malicious demon deceives every sense, the very act of thinking, doubting, fearing, imagining proves the existence of a thinker. Descartes writes, "So long as I am thinking, I am something." This proposition, I am, I exist, is necessarily true whenever it is put forward by me or conceived in my mind. Meditations 2. It is the dawn of a new certainty, not in the external world, but in consciousness itself. But this truth is lonely. It is pure mind, a ghost adrift without anchor in a body. What is this I that exists? This question opens the next great divide. Descartes now turns to metaphysics. What kind of thing is the I, the cogito? Not a body, not an object in space, not something extended, divisible, or tangible. I am a thinking thing, that is, a thing which doubts, understands, affirms, denies, wills, refuses, and also imagines and feels. Meditations 2. In Descartes' universe, two kinds of substance make up all reality. Res extensa, extended substance or matter, that which occupies space. Res cogitans, thinking substance or mind, that which experiences. They have no common properties. One is measured in length, breadth, and motion, the other in thought, will, and experience. From here arises Cartesian dualism, a radical ontological divide that will haunt centuries of philosophy. There is a great difference between mind and body, inasmuch as the body is by nature always divisible, and the mind is entirely indivisible. Meditations 6. The mind is not a brain. It is not neurons or synapses. It is, in Descartes' world, something fundamentally different, something closer to soul. But now comes a serious problem, one raised by Princess Elisabeth of Bohemia, a brilliant correspondent of Descartes. If mind and body are completely different, how do they interact? How can a non-spatial soul move a spatial arm? How does the desire to lift your hand translate into muscles moving? Descartes suggests a small gland at the center of the brain, the pineal gland, as the point of contact, but even he confesses this is more symbolic than explanatory. In a 1643 letter, he admits, "What belongs to the soul's union with the body is a very dark affair when we try to understand it via the intellect alone." Here we meet the problem of interaction. How do two completely separate substances, one extended and the other not, communicate? To this day, no theory has fully answered that question, and thus we enter the realm of responses: rationalist, monist, idealist, and skeptical. Baruch Spinoza, once a follower of Cartesian ideas, offers a revolutionary alternative. He agrees that thought and extension exist, but denies they are separate substances. For Spinoza, there is only one substance, and that substance is God, or if you prefer, nature. Mind and body are one and the same thing, conceived under the attribute of thought on the one hand and under the attribute of extension on the other. Ethics 2, Proposition 7. In other words, the same reality can be understood in two ways, as thinking and as extended. The duality is not of substance, but of perspective. Spinoza's radical monism fuses Descartes' two worlds. It offends religious orthodoxy, but inspires generations of thinkers, from Einstein to Deleuze. His God does not judge. It is the infinite substance in which all modes, including mind and body, unfold necessarily. And so the interaction problem dissolves. There is no interaction because there is no separation. Mind and body, thought and flesh, are but one thing, seen in two lights. After Spinoza, another towering mind re-enters the stage. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, co-inventor of calculus, architect of metaphysical systems, and critic of Descartes' dualism. Leibniz believed Descartes had failed to solve the interaction problem. His answer? There is no interaction. Instead, he proposed the concept of pre-established harmony. Each created substance is like a complete individual world, a closed universe in itself. Monadology 9. In this view, mind and body are like two perfectly synchronized clocks, each ticking independently, yet appearing to move in concert. Why? Because God, in creating them, pre-programmed their actions to align perfectly. The soul follows its own laws, and the body its own likewise, and they agree with each other in virtue of the pre-established harmony between all substances. Letter to Queen Charlotte Prime. This elegant metaphor preserves the separateness of substances while denying the need for mysterious causal bridges. But it comes at a cost. The world becomes a divine clockwork, precise, beautiful, and perhaps impersonal. Across the channel, David Hume approaches Descartes' dualism with a blade of skepticism. Where Descartes found certainty in the cogito, Hume finds illusion. He asks, what is this I that thinks? For my part, when I enter most intimately into what I call myself, I always stumble on some particular perception or other. I never can catch myself at any time without a perception. A treatise of human nature. There is no stable self, no soul, no enduring mind beyond the thoughts themselves. We are, Hume says, nothing more than a bundle of perceptions, loosely connected through habit and memory. The mind is a kind of theater, where several perceptions successively make their appearance. This is not dualism, it's dissolution. Where Descartes found a firm foundation in the mind, Hume finds only smoke and mirrors. Then comes Immanuel Kant, whose philosophy fuses reason and skepticism into one powerful critique. He accepts Descartes' emphasis on the thinking subject, but he restricts what that subject can truly know. I do not cognize myself as I am, but only as I appear to myself. Critique of Pure Reason, A278. Kant distinguishes between phenomena, how things appear to us, and noumena, how things are in themselves. The mind is structured to perceive appearances through categories like space, time, and causality. But we can never access the thing in itself, including our own soul. The soul is a limiting concept, not a real object of knowledge. Descartes claimed knowledge of the mind's essence. Kant says, you can't know your own nature. You only know the conditions under which it appears. The soul remains forever hidden, just beyond the grasp of human reason. As philosophy interrogated the self, science began to map it. Descartes' vision of a mechanical body took on new life as physiology advanced. The nervous system was dissected, the brain localized, behaviors explained, and yet, where was the mind?
Thomas Huxley, Darwin's bulldog, wrote, "The feeling we call consciousness is the steam whistle which accompanies the work of a locomotive but is without influence upon its machinery," on the hypothesis that animals are automata. Others, like Pierre Cabanis, declared, "The brain secretes thought as the liver secretes bile." Here, dualism was inverted. The mind was not a ghost in the machine, it was a byproduct of the machine. The sacred was becoming chemical, the soul anatomical, and yet no microscope ever found the I.
Enter Gilbert Ryle, who launches a full-scale attack on Descartes' legacy. He calls Cartesian dualism a category mistake. It represents the facts of mental life as if they belonged to one logical type or category when they actually belong to another. The Concept of Mind, 1949. To ask where the mind is, Ryle argues, is like asking, where is the university, after being shown libraries, lecture halls, and dormitories. The mind is not a thing. It is not a ghost housed within a machine. It is a way we speak about behaviors, capacities, dispositions. To believe otherwise, says Ryle, is to be misled by grammar into metaphysics. The ghost is gone. The machine remains. In the 20th century, a new approach emerges, not one of metaphysical speculation, but of lived experience. Phenomenology, pioneered by Edmund Husserl and deepened by Maurice Merleau-Ponty, challenges Cartesian dualism by recentering the body as experienced, not as machine. Merleau-Ponty writes, "The body is our general medium for having a world." Phenomenology of perception. We don't have a body, we are embodied. For Descartes, the body was an object of doubt. But for phenomenologists, it is the very condition for meaning, perception, and being. I am not in front of my body, I am in my body, or rather, I am my body. Merleau-Ponty. The split dissolves. Mind and body are not separate realms, but inseparably entangled horizons of experience. Long before Descartes, Eastern philosophies were already grappling with the illusion of the self. In Buddhist thought, the doctrine of anatta, no self, declares there is no unchanging, permanent self. All phenomena are impermanent and interdependent. The self is not a soul or substance, but a process, a stream of consciousness with no fixed observer. The Chandogya Upanishad speaks similarly. You are that, tat tvam asi. Not a separate soul, but a manifestation of universal being. These traditions bypass the dualism problem altogether. They see consciousness and the cosmos as one, ever unfolding. Where Descartes built a wall between mind and body, the Vedantic and Buddhist thinkers never built it to begin with. Instead of "I think, therefore I am," they might say there is thinking, but no thinker. In the 21st century, machines bring peering into the skull. Functional MRI, EEG, optogenetics, tools that chart mental life in pixels and waves. Neuroscience shows correlations between brain activity and experience, but correlation is not explanation. V.S. Ramachandran suggests the self is an elaborate construct created by the brain to help us survive and function in society. We can now see decisions being made in the brain before we're conscious of them. Are we truly agents? Or are we post-hoc storytellers in a mechanical theater? Here, Descartes' thinking thing feels both vindicated and undermined. The brain thinks, but the soul, once luminous, is fading into data. If mind is purely functional, could it be replicated? Can artificial intelligence, a system with no biology, possess a mind? Descartes might scoff. Machines, he claimed, could never use language creatively or adapt across domains. Yet today's large language models, autonomous robots, and generative AI challenge that claim. Alan Turing in 1950 proposed a test. If a machine behaves indistinguishably from a human in conversation, we should call it intelligent. Computing machinery and intelligence. But John Searle in the Chinese room argument reminds us syntax is not semantics. A machine may simulate understanding, but it doesn't know what it's doing. And so, the mind-body problem reemerges in silicon. Is cognition enough, or does there be conscious experience? Can a machine be a thinking thing, or does it merely mimic? In 1995, philosopher David Chalmers coined a phrase that reignited the mystery: the hard problem of consciousness. It's not hard because it's complex, it's hard because it might not be solvable. How does neural activity, electrical signals, and chemical exchanges generate qualia, the raw feel of experience? Why does red feel red? Why is pain unpleasant? Chalmers writes, consciousness is the most familiar thing in the world, yet it is the most mysterious. He proposes that consciousness may be a fundamental feature of the universe, like space or mass. Perhaps the world has both physical and experiential properties at its roots. In this view, Descartes was not wrong to separate mind from matter, he was simply too dualistic. Maybe mind is not separate from matter, but is a hidden aspect of it. What if mind is not separate from matter, but an emergent property, a pattern that arises when complexity reaches a critical point? This is the thesis of emergentism, defended by thinkers like Roger Sperry, Patricia Churchland, and Thomas Metzinger. The mind is what the brain does, Patricia Churchland says. But this is not crude reductionism. Emergentists believe new laws and properties emerge at higher levels of organization. Water is not just hydrogen and oxygen. It flows, reflects, freezes. So too perhaps consciousness emerges from matter but is not reducible to it. Consciousness is a process. There is no self, only a self-model. The ghost is dawn, the machine is dynamic, and mind becomes a choreography of neurons, not an ethereal soul. But even this vision must still answer, who experiences the dance? If emergence leaves the hard problem unsolved, another ancient idea returns with strange elegance: panpsychism. The belief that consciousness pervades all matter not as full self-awareness, but as primitive mental properties. Galileo, in dividing primary and secondary qualities, banished experience from science. We strip the world of color, taste, and sound, and reduce it to shape and motion. Panpsychism reverses this. It suggests that mind was always there, latent in matter itself. As Philip Goff writes, we've tried to explain consciousness by squeezing it out of matter, but what if it's baked in? In this view, Descartes was half right. Mind is real, but it's not unique to humans. It's a feature of existence, scaled and complexified in us. Stone may not reflect, but it may still be. And that being, however faint, is a cousin of consciousness. There is another ghost in Descartes' legacy, the problem of other minds. If mind is private, if all we ever access is our own stream of thoughts, how do we know others are conscious? Ludwig Wittgenstein wrote, "The human body is the best picture of the human soul." Philosophical Investigations. We infer minds through behavior, but we do not see them. We project, we believe, but we do not know. And what of animals? Infants? AI? Is language the gate? Or empathy? Descartes notoriously said of animals, they eat without pleasure, cry without pain, grow without knowing it, they desire nothing, fear nothing, know nothing. A chilling legacy, one now challenged by ethology and cognitive science alike. Maybe the better question is not, are they conscious, but how do they experience? In our time, we build worlds within worlds. We live in simulations, not only technological, but social, linguistic, psychological. What is your identity online, in dreams, in memory? Descartes feared deception from an evil demon. Today, that demon may be an algorithm. Jean Baudrillard called it the procession of simulacra, a world where the sign replaces the real. Virtual reality is not merely entertainment, it is a metaphysical challenge. In VR, your body is present but reprogrammed. Your mind is immersed but decoupled. So, the question returns, if I think in a simulation, do I still exist? And the answer echoes softly, cogito, ergo, sum. Even here. So what remains of Descartes? A man who dared to doubt the world, who turned inward and found a flicker of certainty. I think, therefore I am. He gave birth to the modern subject, and in doing so, opened a wound between mind and matter, self and world. That wound has never fully healed, and perhaps it never will, because the question is not merely philosophical, it is existential. You wake each day inside a body. You move it, you feel with it, but you also wonder, am I more than this? What is this strange flame that burns behind my eyes? Descartes answered, mind and body are two.
Others say they are one. And others still, there is no one here at all. But what matters is that the question still burns. Because to ask it is to be human. To doubt is to awaken. And to think deeply, painfully, beautifully is, perhaps, to begin to be. The preservation of health should be the first study of one who is wise. Descartes, The Passions of the Soul. And perhaps, in understanding ourselves, body and mind, we might begin to live not just certainly, but wisely. If you've ever wondered what you really are, body, soul, or something stranger, this is the question Descartes gifted us. Subscribe to keep the fire of philosophy burning. And remember, you think, you doubt, you wonder. You are who you are.